Hey everyone, Joe Menza here, and I got a lot of new stuff to cover. I was sent these brushes from, and I hope I'm saying this properly, Fuumuui. And these brushes come in a little sort of leather carrying pouch. There's the name on the brushes, 3 different sizes, the 12 being the largest. Here's all 3 togethers. Now, I don't normally use these kind of brushes. I use, as you know, I use the goat hair brushes, so I don't use rounds too much. So I thought I would do something in my little sketchbook here. And this sketchbook is an Indigo art book, which is like 100% cotton handmade paper. And I got this at a store, and I hope I'm saying this right, called Gouache in Boulder, Colorado when I was there. Great art store. I think it's the only one in the whole town, the person that works there said to me. And I picked up some supplies while I was out that way. And I also got, for Christmas, I got a little travel set of Daniel Smith pans here. Now, I'm not sure what all the colors are. I'm just kind of winging it a little bit. And that's a little too green. I thought I'd start with a sky using the Fuumuui, the largest brush, the 12. And these are squirrel brushes. And they do hold water pretty well. They hold their shape pretty well. And this paper here, it's pretty dry. It's pretty, when you paint on it, you'll know the difference between this and regular watercolor paper because it really takes the water in and just slurps it up. So I'm just kind of laying this on here, just initially making a little sky. And just, dipping this in water. Now, I'm used to the larger brushes and having a lot of water at my disposal. So with these, I'll be doing a little bit more dipping. But I almost ordered these brushes. I have to say, I saw them in another video, and I was going to order them on Amazon. I thought they were a nice, handy little pack. But again, I don't use round brushes too much. So I kind of just held off, and the company contacted me and asked if I'd like to have them sent to me and do a little video. And sure, if you want to send me any of your products, I'm always happy to do a video and try new things. It's a great way to try new things, actually. So I'm going to do a little mountain back here. And I'm winging it with these round brushes because it's not something I normally do. But I'm really liking the squirrel. And I think I've used I've ordered brushes from China before. I have a set of ones that have like different badger and just different animals. I don't even know, but different wolf hair or whatever, different hairs on the brushes. I don't know that I've used squirrel, so I'm really paying attention this time because obviously I want to see how these brushes are, but they hold the water very nicely. And I have to say, no hairs are coming out of the brushes. I mean, there's no loss of hair. I know it's only the first time I'm using them, but sometimes these brushes, they shed a lot from what I've seen. Even the hake brushes that we use, they lose hairs every time you paint. It's not the end of the world if you do lose a hair. I'm just surprised I'm not losing any in there. So making up a dark color here. There's not a Payne's gray in this set. There is Viridian green, which I keep grabbing. I almost feel like I might take that out of this set because Viridian, it's just so strong and of a color. But Daniel Smith pigments, you can't go wrong. These little pan sets are fairly new from them. And I really like those too. I've actually, you know me, I use economical paints, student grade. But I've started using some of the Daniel Smith again, and I've started using the Winsor Newton, and I'm just liking the really strong pigments. And I've also gone back to adding a little bit of gouache again, and kind of integrating that into my painting. Here's a little bit of, I think this is either yellow ochre or raw sienna. And I'm just kind of making up a quick little mountain scene here, which is my favorite thing to paint. I want to see how that does for myself. When I was out in Colorado, I visited a lot of different mountain ranges there. The flat irons, went up Pikes Peak. That was something. I actually drove up there myself. And I was white-knuckled the whole way up. And I was in a rental car. And coming down, they actually check the heat temperature of your brakes to see how you're doing, which ours were fine. But It was fun. I mean, it was fun going all the way to the top. They have a new gift shop up there, and that was a lot of fun. A lot of great scenery and just stopping along the way and taking pictures and really getting some inspiration. Now here I thought I'd throw like some purple or something in here. I'm actually not liking it. I thought the sky was a little bit too plain. I'll come back to this. That's what I like about white gouache. This is Winsor & Newton white gouache. Nice and thick out of the tube. And it's a bigger tube. So I'm going to use some dry brushing here with the, let's see, this is the small Fuumuui squirrel brush. And I'm just dry brushing this for the mountain peaks. It seems to be doing really well. I mean, I actually would mind carrying these with a sketchbook and the little Daniel Smith paint. Very, very portable little setups. I've been trying to get my kit as, minimalistic as possible anyway. But I'm liking these brushes so far. And this one here you can just stick right in the tube. I really like this Winsor & Newton gouache. Again, it's nice and thick. Now, if I mix this with a little bit of blue, like cerulean, I can get a little bit of a shadow color going here. Really gives the mountains some dimension. And I'll probably put some more white back over there. Let's get where there'd be some shadows. Yeah, those are starting to stand out now. Yeah, I like having, this Indigo art sketchbook is really nice. I mean, everything I'm using here is high quality, and I will say the brushes, from what I can see here, Fuumuui, I'll probably be going back on their website and seeing what else they have, because these are nice brushes. I hope if you order some, your experience is the same. And they do have a website. I can put that in the links or in the description below. And they are on Amazon as well. Put a little bit more white over here. Just dry brushing this on. You know what's nice is when you have this kind of paper that really absorbs the water in, you can dry brush really nicely. The one thing I have a hard time doing, I think you saw me before, I was trying to scrape. The paint just sucks into the paper and there's like nothing to scrape. So scraping with the plastic card is more challenging on this paper. So again, I'm taking a little bit more of that white. Yeah, if you like painting mountains, you like scenery in general, and you go out to Colorado and you see the Flatirons and Garden of the Gods and Pikes Peak, and it's very inspiring to get, and do subjects for painting. And that mountain air, nice and fresh mountain air. I really liked my trip out there. We got an upgrade on our rental car, no extra charge. We got a 4-door Jeep Willie. That thing was like driving, semi-truck around. It was really enjoyable to drive that around. I'm going to take the larger brush here. Let's see. Got some water on this larger, the 12. I'm pretty abusive to my brushes too. I mean, if you want to be gentle with them and keep a nice point, I'll see how these hold up over time, but I tend to be a little bit more harder on my brushes. So I'm taking a little bit of the white and I'm just in a little bit of the blue. I'd rather get more toward a bluey sky. Wasn't wild about that purple. So we'll see how this goes over the top, which it's working. I can't cover quite as fast as like I can with the Ron Ranson brush or, the those kind of brushes, like a big 1-inch brush, half-inch brush, whatever. But if you're working in a sketchbook like this, it doesn't really matter. But if you're doing, a big sheet and you want big washes, then you could start out with a wash brush and then work your way to these brushes. So this is kind of a first. I'm doing this whole painting with rounds. I've used rounds once in a while, but to do an entire painting is it's new for me. So if I can get good results like this, I'm sure you can too. I'm dipping in water. You don't see me off screen here. I have a jar of water that I'm dipping in. I'm just getting water. A little more dipping with this. It does hold nice water nicely. If this is a 12, then I'd like to try a larger brush. I'm going to have to look on their website. Fuumuui. It's fun to say. Fuumuui. I hope I'm saying it right. I'm sure they'll let me know. No, it's, whatever. But I watched another video, someone using them just to see how they pronounced it, and they said Fuumuui. That guy's a little bit better, I think. The other one was kind of taken away from the mountain. And again, if you're in the Boulder, Colorado area, because I didn't really bring any art supplies. And then when I was there, I was like, gee, I'd like to kind of paint some stuff. And I like to check out art stores that are local to an area too. When I was in Florida Keys, there was a place downtown there, not too far from the water. It was around the corner from that, where they have that buoy. I believe, if I remember correctly, and there was a little art store there, and that was just nice to see other art supply stores. And this one in Boulder, Colorado, it's like a paint store, like they sell regular house paint, and then in the back they have this art supply area. There's one other person came in there looking for something, but it wasn't that busy. So here I'm going to try, and everybody knows I like to use fan brushes to make pine trees. So I'm going to do my level best to use pointy brushes for this and see what I can do. I'm going to get little points on the branches. Luckily, this is a small piece, so I can get away with little mistakes. And this is just a combo of like green and blue. That Viridian, I keep grabbing that Viridian. I might remove that from that set. So I don't know, this pine tree looks a little roundish. But maybe I should use the smaller brush, I think. Trying to get a little pointy tip on top. It's passable. See, it gets scratchy. If you scratch it right away when it's wet, this paper, you can get that trunk in there. And I'll put a little one over here. I'm starting to get a hang of doing pine trees with a round brush. I think I'd still do a small fan brush, but this'll work in a pinch. It's like anything you practice. A lot of people, I think, like round, pointy brushes just because you're used to, when you're a kid, you start off, you use crayons and you use markers and pencils, and it gives you more of that you're drawing with a pencil kind of a thing. I'll throw another tree in here to hide how terrible the other tree is. See, I keep getting that Viridian on there. It is a crazy color, that Viridian. Crazy green. So yeah, you really got to have a little container of water handy with these. They're not going to hold. You need more water. You're going to keep dipping into some water. Which is my jar, which is right off camera. I have a mason jar. I don't know why I lean on using the mason jar. I also have one of those buckets that has like 3 chambers in it, but it's just you got to wash it out and dump it, and it's big. Fix these little tree line back here. Maybe put a couple little pointy things in there just to sell it. I don't want to make it too big though. As long as I got this fine point tip, may as well use it. It's a little too high. Bigger you make these trees in the back, the smaller it's going to make your mountain look, and your mountain's supposed to look big. But I mean, these trees can go pretty high. Again, working on a smaller format like a sketchbook. I'd go buy another one of these sketchbooks, this Indigo art book. They sell these on Amazon as well. And they're it's nice paper. It's a really nice paper. It's different. It's different from what you're used to. You know, if you're coming from arches, it might not be so different, but if you're coming off of like, you know, wood pulp, 25% cotton paper, it's night and day. Now look at this fourth tree. It took me 4 trees to kind of get a decent looking pine tree here with this brush. So Ron Ranson had said he doesn't use store-bought greens because they're garish looking, I believe is what he said. And by the way, if you've never watched me before, I'm one of the admins over at the Ron Ranson group on Facebook. And we have over 1,000 members. You have to answer 3 questions, and you can join our group and learn about Ron Ranson and the fast and loose big brush method that he taught with minimal fussing. And as I make this, it's Ron Ranson's birthday. He would have been 99 Friday, February 12th. And he passed away, sadly, in 2016. But he pioneered the use of the hake or hake brush as a way to teach students a way to paint quickly with a minimal amount of fussing. Now, you know I use a marker for these birds. I'm going to use the brush. I'm using the brush for everything. And I think we're going to call this one finished. But I like these brushes. I give them a thumbs up. I like the little case that they come in. And I think they're really nice. Fuumuui. On indigo art paper using Daniel Smith pans. I like the Daniel Smith pan. You know, I like the pans for their convenience. I mean, there's a lot to be said for squeezing fresh paint out of your tube. But I really like having just a little compact container. I'm going to throw a little highlight color on these trees with the yellow. You can do that with the yellow. And the pigments are strong in Daniel Smith anyway, so see, you could throw on, look at those highlights. You can throw that on there just to make that stand out a little bit. I think this was a fun little piece to do, and a lot of new and different things. Kind of get you out of your rut a little bit. Just dabbing a little bit there. Kind of seeing what the paper will do. Each piece of paper is divided with like a piece of wax paper in this spiral bound book. I'll probably go get me another one of these books. You know, a lot of times you like to paint on a big piece. It's impressive, do a 12 by 16, but for just the fun factor that I always preach on, these little sketchbooks are great. I'm gonna put some little pointy things sticking out on here. Make them branches look a little better. Put a little tip on. I don't want to fuss at it too much. So that's it. Here's the little case again that these brushes go into. I'm going to wash those. And here is the finished piece. And here it is in a virtual frame using an iPhone app called Frame Builder. Thanks for watching.